you're boring as fuck, your content sucks, and you should just stop. Have you ever heard that? Even if it's just the voice in your own head, has that ever come into your mind? Especially if you're creating short form content like Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, then I've got some bad news for you. You should probably stop creating that content. And I'm laughing because this goes against everything that you hear when it comes to building your personal brand. But in this video, I actually want to share with you the main reason why your content is shit. Look, you will need to hear this, but I'm not gonna just be a dick and then say that you're shit and then dip. I'm gonna outline exactly what you need to do in order to change this. So let's go back to, I think, 2020. It was during lockdown, and I did what every other guy in the world seemed to do in lockdown. Start a podcast, yeah. And to be fair, I don't remember how many episodes I got in. I think around 20. And I just stopped. I felt guilty and disappointed in myself when I did stop, because I heard all these big names in the online marketing space, personal branding, like creating an online business, about how you should be creating content, and there I was giving up after just a few weeks of starting a podcast. Now back then when I did stop, I thought it was just because I lacked the motivation to create this podcast, which is a fair assumption, but looking back, it was much deeper than this. Back then, I wasn't in a place in order to produce quality content. Back then, I didn't really offer much value. I was talking about all these things like 3 ways to optimize sleep, or like how to be more focused, or productivity hacks, or morning routines. I was talking about all of this stuff, which was, when you boil it down, it was regurgitated and it was unoriginal. Now back then, it was no wonder I gave up, because not only was the content just completely not taking off at all, but I understood that, well, I understand now that creating content that is inauthentic is just going to lead to burnout. It's not original content. It doesn't come from what I genuinely want to speak about or what I can speak about. So it was only a matter of time. Now back then I was living with my parents. My agency was still in its very early stages. I had maybe 2 clients. I was in okay shape. I wasn't really doing much with my life. And the key lesson here is that instead of focusing on creating content, what I should have been doing, and what I will outline for you today, is to go from thinking you need to create content to actually living your life instead. Think about it like this. If Steven Spielberg came up to you and was like, right, Jonathan, we're going to make a movie out of your life, okay? Think about, would this movie be a blockbuster, or would it be so fucking boring where people walked out of the cinema and asked for a refund, demanded a refund for the ticket that they just wasted their money on? Think about your life. Is it actually exciting? Is cool stuff going on that you can actually talk about in your content? If it's not going to be a movie filled with great storylines, drama, action, adventure, hero arcs, all of this cool stuff, then don't create the film. Don't create the content. Live your life first. Get to that point where you have this exciting life and then create content. I know that a lot of the big voices in the online marketing space say that you should create content around your stories. And I agree to that, to the extent that these stories are actually good, exciting, and valuable. If you do a podcast about how you went to the shop to buy some bread, and then they were out of bread, and then you bought bagels, and then you went home and you had bagels instead of bread, then it's just going to be fucking boring. If you are not living an exciting life, then it will be no surprise to you when none of your content takes off, none of your YouTube videos get views, your podcasts get no downloads, because people don't want to watch a boring movie. Instead, what you should do is dedicate the next 6 or 12 months of your life to building an exciting life. Imagine if you lived your life not for the sake of getting likes or getting views or subscribers or followers, but what if you lived your life doing exactly what you wanted to do and no other reason? What if instead of setting up your little podcast mic, doing all the editing yourself, what if instead of all of that, you were doing cool shit, like you went traveling, you were doing new hobbies, you were doing fun shit, you were making mistakes as well? What if you were doing all of that? How much more fun would your life be? And then at the end of it, then you can tell those stories, because you've genuinely done exciting shit with your life that you can talk about and that will actually add value to an audience. Now, I made this mistake when I first started. I was creating inauthentic, unoriginal content that was just a waste of not only my time, but my energy and money as well. Because back then I thought, in my mind, I was like, oh, low quality content is better than no content. But that is absolutely wrong. If you're creating bad content, then your audience are going to be like, oh, this guy's not even creating anything original. He's just being like everyone else. There's no value in it. People will go out of their way to unsubscribe, unfollow, and just make the association that your personal brand is closely linked with low quality content, and you do not want that. Instead, what I want you to focus on is spending the next 6 or 12 months actually living an exciting life. Forget about content for a bit. Content can wait. Just live a fucking fun life. Whether you create content at the end of it or not, just go out and just have fun. Alright, so yeah, I hope this has been an insight to those of you who are struggling with content. It might be that maybe you're not there yet, maybe you're not ready to create content yet, and that isn't a bad thing at all. You shouldn't take that as like, oh god, what do I do now? What you do now is you go out and just have some fucking fun. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.